Let's quickly walk through again what we have created. Yesterday, we have created a campaign, which is we use traffic objective. The reason why we want to use traffic objective is because that's the next viable action that we want. Because we want people to see the ad and click and go over to our Shopee store, not leaving a comment, not liking the post, not doing whatever, something like watching the video and all that. You must be very clear about the action that matters to you next. So a lot of people did not do Facebook advertising right because what they were really looking for is they want people to click and go over to their website, but they choose engagement objective, which eventually they will be frustrated. Why? Because they get hell a lot of engagement, people who like, comment, PM and all this kind of thing. But when you actually track back on the number of clicks that you receive on the link that you post, you don't get anything. So that is really the main reason why a lot of advertisers can't find the right way to do Facebook ads. That's why in the Facebook Ads Accelerator, our FAA program, where you are already in now because you're watching this, you enroll to this FAA program already, you see. We have another course that talks about very great detail. How do we use each and every one of the 11 objectives available? There are 11 Facebook advertising objectives. And you really want to understand each and every one of them, because when you're able to master that, you'll be able to do Facebook advertising in a whole new way. Like for example, one of my favorite advertising objective is reach objective. Why? Because when you know how to use reach objective, right, you can actually spend very little money. Like for example, for those who are seeing my advertisement, for those who have seen my advertisement, you will see my advertisement everywhere at a higher frequency every day. But to your surprise, I'm spending very little on Facebook advertising. Because when I use reach objective, I'm able to achieve higher frequency at a lower CPM. So that's something that you want to consider. Yeah, go into that program seriously. What was that? Choosing the right Facebook advertising objective. 4-hour, 3-hour thing. Okay, it's totally worth the time to spend, because after you have mastered the whole Facebook advertising, every single thing, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, because I show you in great detail in terms of case studies and all that. When you are able to do that, you're able to do Facebook advertising in a whole new way. And congratulations, you're already in FAA. That's why I urge you, if you haven't completed those cornerstone courses, go and do that. So now we have created our first campaign, which is we were targeting people who are aged 18 to 50. You can always go back to the last chapter and watch the video, how do we do the audience narrow detail targeting. Narrow detail targeting essentially is a method where we actually use two set of detail targeting settings to corner up to find people who are actually matching on both categories. So let me go in again into the Ads Manager and show you. Now, this is how we actually set this up, okay? If you remember clearly what we did. Okay, in the last chapter, if you remember correctly, okay, what we did was we actually used two sets of detail targeting. The first set is to target behavior-based. Now, when it comes to detail targeting, I also explained to you the differences between the additional detail or additional interests and those that you can find in the browse. The accuracy of Facebook detail targeting is actually up to 90% in countries like Malaysia, because we have a lot of Facebook users. And then after that, we use the second tier, because the logic is this. The reason why we do this is because we want to target those people who own iPhone, because we have this option. That's why we can do this. But for those businesses and industries that you do not have very relatable so-called behaviors like this, then you probably have to find another way of doing all this targeting. I also gave you an example about in the last chapter. You have to be very careful about the detail targeting that you're choosing. Well, there is no one set rule for all industries, put it this way. After managing so many clients and campaigns in the past many years, right? I still can't come out and say that this is how you set all this. But at least the detail targeting settings and certain techniques that we use, I can share with you. But the combination of that is still very much depending. Like for example, if you're selling maybe fashion, then you probably want to do a different set of all this. Okay, then certain things you can come in. The reason why we use Engaged Shopper is because the logic here is, if I'm selling this online, I want to go for people who are, usually buying things online. And Engaged Shopper is one of a very good option, because this is actually based on the purchase behavior. So, like I said, it's just a combination. Okay, and I also explained to you why do we do like 290,000, because the whole idea that we have here is, we want to have an audience size that is relevant, that is realistic to your budget. Let's say if you're targeting maybe 5 million people and you're spending only like 10 ringgit a day, that is really kind of, in my opinion, it's a long shot. With smaller budget, you should try to corner up and find narrower audience to make sure that you're able to reach more people that are more likely to take the action that you want them to take. Okay, so this is how we actually set it up for the first content. In the last chapter, I also mentioned to you that in order to do the exclusion mechanism, we need to make sure that we are actually publishing. We have already published the advertisement. So yesterday we went through the setup and we published the advertisement.